afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. Our topic for today is all about intellectual revolution, the edge of reason. So, bago natin tatalakay nitong topic natin ngayon, ano nga ba ang intellectual revolution? Ang intellectual revolution is a time period when advancement of science and technology change people's perceptions and beliefs. Scientists and all periods of times are driven by their curiosity, critical thinking, and creativity to explore the physical and natural world. So, sa nakikita natin, may mga magiging summary natin ngayon about intellectual revolution. Ito po yan ay ang Copernican Revolution, Darwinian Revolution, and also Freudian Revolution. So, ano nga ba ang Copernican Revolution? Ang Copernican Revolution shift in the field of astronomy from a geocentric understanding of the universe centered around the Earth to a heliocentric understanding centered around the Sun as articulated by the Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus. Pangalawa naman ay Darwinian Revolution. In Darwinian Revolution, in 1855, there was a groundbreaking revolution in scientific and religious realms. The Origin of Species, authored by Charles Darwin, was published. Ang sinulat daw ni Charles Darwin is book named The Origin of Species, Freudian Revolution, may be viewed as the discovery of way of locating the mind, objective, entities which can studied like physical being. Copernican Revolution. The Copernican Revolution refers to the 16th century paradigm shift named after the Polish mathematician and astronomer Nicholas Copernicus. Copernicus formulated the heliocentric model of the universe. At the time, believed was the Earth the center of the solar system based on the geocentric model of Ptolemy. So, sinasabi daw na ang Copernican Revolution shift in the field of astronomy from geocentric understanding of the universe centered around the Earth to a heliocentric understanding centered around the Sun, as articulated by the Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus in 16th century. Claudius Ptolemy, a famous philosopher and astronomer, stated that the planets as well as the Sun and the Moon move in a circular motion around the Earth. So Claudius Ptolemy said, planets and Sun and also Moon move in a circular motion around the Earth. Then also he believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. The concept known as a geocentric model. Copernicus formulated that heliocentric model of the universe. At the time, the belief was that the Earth was the center of the solar system based on the geocentric model of Ptolemy. So, based on geocentric model and Ptolemy, the Earth was the center of the solar system. The revolution was Orbium Coelestium, the revolution of celestial spheres, and 1543. In this model, Copernicus repositioned the Earth from the center of the solar system and introduced the idea that the Earth rotates on its own axis. The model illustrated the Earth along with the other heavenly bodies to be rotating around the Sun. So it means Copernicus argued that the Sun rather than the Earth lies in the center of the universe. The Earth moves as a planet around the Sun. The most important advantages offered by Copernicus was vision of universe as a coherent and integrated system where all the planets move together in elegant harmony. This theory was first proposed by Nicholas Copernicus. Copernicus was a Polish astronomer. He first published the heliocentric system in this book, De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, on the revolution of heavenly bodies, which appeared in 1543.
Heliocentric means that the sun is the At the center, one in the which the planets remove around the fixed of the sun. Mercury, Venus, and Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn all revolve around the sun. Galileo Galilei, Copernicus faced perfections of the church because of this slight problem with the models. The heliocentric model was soon accepted by the scientists of the time. At bago ang salungganatan ni Galileo sa simbahan, ang karamihan sa mga edukadong tao sa mundo, Kristiyano at sumang-ayon, Aristotelian, geocentric na pananaw na ang mundo ang sentro ng universo at ang lahat ng mga bagay sa langit ay umiikot sa Earth o ang Tychonic system ay
Darwin Revolution. Charles Darwin, the English naturalist, geologist, and biologist. His treatise on the Science Revolution on the origin of species was published in 1859 and began a revolution that brought humanity in a new era of intellectual discovery. Darwin gathered evidence pointing to what is known as a natural selection, an evolutionary process by which organisms, including humans, inherit, develop, and adapt traits that favored survival in production. Natural selection ni Charles Darwin ay nagsisimula ito sa obserbasyon ni Charles Darwin sa kanyang paligid. Isa na sa mga organismo sa mundo ay may kakayahang gumawa ng maraming anak. Example, sa isang babae, pwedeng manganak ng 45 na bata sa buong buhay niya.
The Origin of Species in Charles Darwin Magnum Opus, or a piece of great work. These blanks outline a theory of how traits are selected by nature, where the tremendous diversity of life on Earth came from, and how animals and plants came to be distributed across the planet. In this book, Darwin argues that evolution takes place through a process called natural selection. Natural selection is a process by which organisms better suited for adaptation to their environment survive, while those that are poorly suited to their environment do not. Basically, it is nature selecting which organisms thrive and which do not. This process, Darwin asserted, was a driving force in evolution. This process is also commonly referred to as survival of the fittest. The book was written for non-specialist readers and attracted widespread interest upon its publication. Darwin was already highly regarded as a scientist, so his findings were taken seriously and the evidence he presented generated. Within 2 decades, there was widespread specific agreement that evolution, with a branching pattern of common descent, had occurred, but scientists were slow to give natural selection the significance that Darwin thought appropriate. During the eclipse of Darwinism, from the 1880s to the 1930s, various mechanisms of evolution were given more credit. With the development of the modern evolutionary synthesis in 1930s and 1940s, Darwin's concept of evolutionary adaptation through natural selection becomes central to modern evolutionary theory, and it has now become the unifying concept of the life science. The theory emerged at a time when most of the population believe and accept that biblical version of the earth creation. Freudian revolution may be viewed as discovery of a way of locating in the mind objective entities which can be studied like physical things. If Freud is representative of scientific evolution, perhaps what Thomas Kuhn has described as a change of paradigm might generally consist of the demonstration of new entities. This particular revolution occurred in the settings of the prevalent concern about the entities underlying all the science. Because of his genius of structural thought, Freud was able to respond satisfactorily to a challenge that all of the science were facing. It is that common challenge rather than a popular exemplary model such as mechanics and shape Freud's theory. Sigmund Freud was an Australian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, a clinical method for evaluating and treating pathologies seen as originating from conflicts in the psyche through dialogue between patient and psychoanalyst, and the distinctive theory of mind and human agency derived from it. In founding psychoanalysis, Freud developed therapeutic techniques such as use of free association and discovery transference, establishing its central role in the analytic process. Freud's redefinition of sexuality to include its infantile forms led him to formulate the Oedipus complex as the central tenet of psychoanalytic theory. His analysis of dreams as wish fulfillments provide him with models for the clinical analysis of symptom formation and the underlying mechanism of repression. On this basis, Freud elaborated his theory of the unconscious and went on to develop a model of psychic structure comprising ID, ego, and superego. Freud postulated the existence of libido, sexualized energy with which mental processes and structure are invested and which generate erotic attachment, and the death drive, the source of compulsive repetition, hate, aggression, and neurotic guilt. In his later work, Freud developed a wide-ranging interpretation and critique of religion and culture. Through an overall decline as a diagnostic and clinical practice, psychoanalysis remains influential within psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy, and across the humanities. It thus continues to generate extensive and highly contested debate concerning its therapeutic efficacy, its scientific status, and whether it advances or hinders the firmest cause. Nonetheless, Freud's work has sought-east contemporary Western thought and popular culture.
Of minds. Preconscious mind is located between the unconscious and conscious mind. It consists of experiences that we are not aware of but are made conscious by simply focusing on them. Unconscious mind, sometimes referred to as subconscious, is the highest level of mind. The contents referred urges, thoughts, memories, and wishes and disturbing and threatening conscious mind. Lowest level consists of our thoughts, desired, and wishes which we are aware of or can be recalled at any times. Based on explain, ma'am. The lower level is the conscious, then free conscious, which is in between conscious and unconscious, and the highest level is the unconscious.
Ang tatlong elemento ng pagkatao na kilala bilang ID, ego, at ang superego ay nagtutulungan upang lumikha ng komplikadong pag-uugali ng tao. Ano ang pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng ego at superego? Ang ego ay bahagi ng pagkatao na responsable sa pagharap sa katotohanan, samantala ang superego ay nagbibigay ng mga alituntunin para sa paggawa ng mga hatol. Maaari naming malaman ang higit pa tungkol sa mga dalawa sa pamagitan ng pag-aaral ng mga pangunahing kaalaman ng tatlong mga bahagi ng personalidad na kilalang ID, ego, at superego. Ang teorya na ito ay binuo ni Sigmund Freud. Sa maikling sabi, ang ID ay ang tanging bahagi ng pagkatao na naroon mula sa kapanganakan. Ang ID ay tanging bahagi ng pagkatao na naroon mula sa kapanganakan. Ang aspeto ng pagkatao ay ganap na hindi namamalayan at kinabibilangan ng mga katutubo at primitive na pag-uugali. Ang ID ang pinagmumulan ng lahat ng psychic energy. Ginagawa itong pangunahing bahagi ng pagkatao. Pangalawang personalidad naman ay ego. Ang ego ang pagkamakasarili ay bahagi ng pagkatao na may pananagutan sa pagharap sa katotohanan. Ang kaakuhan ay bubuo mula sa ID at sinisiguro na ang mga impulses na ID ay maaaring ipahayag sa isang paraan na katanggap-tanggap sa tunay na mundo. Ang pagkamaako ay gumaganap sa parehong may malay, maunlad at walang malay na isip. Ang pangatlo naman ay ang superego, ang huling bahagi upang bumuo. Ang superego ay ang espiritu ng pagkatao at nagtataglay ng lahat ng aming mga panloob na moral, na pamantayan at ideals na nakuha namin mula sa parehong mga magulang at lipunan. Batay sa aming pakiramdam ng tama at mali, ang superego ay nagbibigay ng mga alituntunin para sa paggawa ng mga hatol at ito ay nagsisimula na lumabas sa paligid ng edad ng 5 taong gulang. Your ID personality lies your evil self in which craves something that should be achieved immediately and will not causes the pleasure to your mood. Pag gusto mo mukaon ng mangga, kaso di ikaw kakaon kay gidugo or worse kay wala kay kwarta ikapalit. Diba makawala da dyan sa mood? Pag ang cravings nimo is dili nimo mukaon or mapalit. Pangalawang example naman sa ego ay ego personality knows when to act appropriate. This where I believe loves you. It knows that when you do this thing, it will harm you. It knows when you do that thing, it will bring you good. Mediator si Ja ng ID o si Perego kay dili man pwede good manobra kaw sa tanan butang. For example, may situation na accidentally na sikukaw sa imong friend. Your ID will immediately crave for revenge and your super ego will tell you the consequence if you avenge what that person have done to you. It will only lead to a vindication. So your ego will do the final decision kung sa gani siya ang reality because it will do act or words what you think is appropriate. And the last one is superego. Lies your angelic personality. This is where your conscience resides. It follows what is right. Pag uno ilahong na i-decide mo, kung traho ni Jack kay kabayo siya malito. For example, kung sa mangga mo laong imo superego na ayaw jaon sunda kay gitugo ka. Kung mukaon ko jaon, magsakit imong puson. Kay dapat magigna sa kay kinahanglan ipagawas nato jaon na dugo kay hugaw sa jaon sa ato lawas.
Psychosexual stages of development. Rayon discussed the importance of early childhood experiences in these stages. Oral stage, birth to 1 year. Infant achieves gratification towards oral activities such as feeding thumbs, sucking and babbling. Oral stage, birth to 1 year. The focuses the mouth or makakainin ng bata. Anal stage 1 to 3 years. The focuses is anus and bladder. Anal stage is the child learns to respond to some of the demands of society, such as bowel and bladder control. The focuses is anus and bladder. Turuan pumunta sa CR at kung paano anus and bladder. For example, tuturuan ilabas ang dumi at umihi ng wasto. Phallic stage, 6 years to puberty. For example, phallic stage. The child learns to realize the differences between males and females and become aware of sexuality. The focuses of phallic stage is
Focus sa mga guro dyan.
genitals specifically. The phallic stage focuses is nagbase sila sa uri ng lalaki at babae. Latency stage 6 years to puberty. Latency stage is the child continues his or her development but sexual urges are relatively quick. Latency stage in the focus is sexual feelings. Sexual feelings is sexual desire and is an emotion and motivational state characterized by an interest in sexual object or objectives or by a drive to seek out sexual object or to engage in sexual activities. Genital stage, puberty to adult. Genital stage focuses on genitals stage. The growing adolescent shakes off all dependencies and learns to deal maturely with opposite sex. Example of the use is that if a child needs for oral gratification are not met in fantasy, then they will have an oral issue that would result in substitute oral activities in later life, excessive eating, smoking, nail biting, gum chewing, etc.
Sa gitna ng kontrobersya, ang psychoanalysis ni Freud ay malawak na kinilalag para sa dominating psychotherapeutic practice sa unang bahagi ng ika-20 siglo. Ang mga psychodynamic na therapies na gumagamot sa nakararaming mga psychological na karamdaman ay nananatiling higit na alam ng gawa ni Freud psychoanalysis.